Hello. So, I have a lot to speak about. I'm really excited. So, the warning is first of all, if you're going to listen to this, it might be a bit all over the place. Because I've waited a long time to make this video, and it's been a long journey to get here. I've basically been speaking to God since He saved me, just over a year and a half ago, and I've been in deep reflection and contemplation the whole time, and God has said, I'll tell you when it's time to speak, and it's time now. Woo, I'm very excited about it. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is a Bible verse that came to me today on my app, and it was just so in line with what I was thinking about last night and my mission and what I want to speak about today. So it is: "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Fuck. I was like, fuck, when I read that. So I just wanted to share that first of all, before I get started. So yeah, so bear with me, because I'm probably going to go all over the place, but yeah. Basically, what God wants me to speak and share with you all, to those who listen, is about the imbalance that's going on in the world right now. It seems we're going through a time of basically the repercussions of lying, and that's exactly when God saved me a year and a half ago, was because there was still a lot of lies in me that I've had to face, and I have faced, and I've been healing over the last year and a half, and I'm doing well. I've healed a lot, and I've learned a lot, and now it's time for me to speak, what I've learned, and to speak what God wants me to speak. So I'm hoping that, well, God's gonna come through me, but I'm a bit scared because I'm excited and nervous, and nervous because I'm doing the right thing. This is what I'm meant to be doing. So yeah, how to start this off? It's basically what's going on with the imbalances. It's that what I'm seeing is there's a lot of people out there on the spiritual path, and wider society, who things are so bad that people can't actually compute what's going on, that we've decided to accept everything. And that's fucking crazy. We can't accept everything. And really the theme of this is what I wanted to speak about, is that the thing that's most important to me is children's innocence, and protecting that. And we need to face the truth if we're going to do that, because people are deciding that, oh my god, it's too much. The powers that rule us are too wicked, so people are choosing not to look at it and to just say, oh, that's just someone's opinion, that's just a different point of view, while evil rules the world. Yeah. And we've lost sight of consequences, of limits, and we just say that anything goes. I mean, you're seeing this in schools, in workplaces, that the worst people benefit the most. So if you're an abusive cunt, you'll thrive at your workplace. If you lie, you'll thrive anywhere you go. I mean, who are the most powerful people at the moment? It's politicians and people in the background. I mean, they're obviously just puppets, but if you lie and cheat, you'll get success, and the good people are the ones who are punished, and the children who are born innocent into this world are punished because we don't want to face the world that we have all contributed to in our different ways, in our different lives, in our desire for convenience and ease and peace, we've created this world, we're all a part of it, and the children being born in it today, fucking holy shit. Look what they've been left. It's crazy. And so personally, it's taken me all this time, 28 years, to see it, to fully accept what I've been through in my life, the abuse that I've endured. I've just recently cut off from my family for the last time because God has allowed me to fully see the abuse that they did to me, that I've had to endure. And there's been many types of abuse that I've endured because of my family. And I'm finally strong enough to say, fuck you. You're not my family just because you gave birth to me, just because you are connected to me by marriage, for example. I lived with my dad and my stepmom when my mum died, and they've all abused me. And I always knew my stepmom was abusive. That was clear. She's just a cunt. But I always held space for my other family members, like particularly my dad. I thought that there was hope with him because he would manipulate me and tell me stories about the abuse he faced when he was young, and that really played on my heart because I am very empathetic. But now I've finally seen that I can draw a line. You know, you're not meant to accept everything. You're not meant to accept abuse. This is a horrible thing that we are saying to people, that institutions are saying to people, just the fucking society. That's what we're at. We accept abuse. And this is all the way down to paedophilia. I mean, it's hard to know where to start because my brain is so, like, a million things want to be said here. But we give resources, limited resources. You know, the world, although many people live in luxury and go to mummy and daddy and they'll always bail them out and they've never actually experienced limited resources, the world is limited. There is limited fucking resources, right? I don't know how better else to explain that. It's obviously true. And we are giving these limited resources and saying, here, there you have a house, someone who's on a fucking sex offenders list, they'll be looked after because they can't get a job or whatever the fuck. And so your tax money goes into paying for paedophiles to live in communities or to live in hospitals and fucking all the care that goes into them, prisons, all this shit. Like, what the fuck? While children and victims of these things are just left, you know, it's fucking backwards. And obviously, you know, if you've got half a brain cell, you know the world's backwards because you live today and everything is backwards. Like, COVID's the biggest fucking most obvious lie if your eyes are open, yet people have just lapped it up. People now go out and don't wear masks. The vaccine doesn't actually prevent you from getting COVID, yet that's fine right now because it's said that it's fine. Yet I've never worn a mask, never been vaccinated, and I'm a selfish cunt who doesn't care about anyone. Like, no. Anyway, I don't really want to go into that, but it just shows you where we're at in the world today. That it's filled with liars. It's filled with evil. And if you're good, and there's hope for you, you have to separate from these people, and you have to cut them off. To be honest. And it's not nice. It's not been an easy journey for me to accept. Like, I completely have had a tendency with my characteristics to want to believe that everyone can be saved, that everyone can change, that there's hope for everyone, but there isn't. Due to the abuse from my family, I've been recently looking into narcissistic abuse, and just studying that, learning more about that, and the research on that is that these people don't change. And no one's really talking about that. Like, so if these people don't change, and I fucking knew that with my stepmom, just just a horrific bully fuck. And it was clear she never tried. Any thing that looked like she was trying was just manipulation to get what she wants. And that's the same with my whole family. They're liars and manipulators who prey on people like me and people with good hearts who want to help and who want to have faith and not cut off people too soon, and to understand. Like, I understand, you know, I've lied, we've all been lost. It's not about not understanding that. I have plenty of time for people who are lost, but who try, and these cunts do not try. And so the research actually shows that they don't change. So what are we meant to do about that? They ruin society, these people. They abuse children, and we prop them up. These are the most successful people because they don't care about anything like honour or truth or, you know, any virtue. They don't care about that. So we are being hindered for our virtue playing games with people who are willing to lie and cheat. Obviously we're going to lose the game if we say, yeah, anyone's welcome in the game. Like, we pretend that we like virtues about truth and honour and justice, but actually we're playing the game with people who don't care about justice and truth. So it's sick. We're in a sick society. And, you know, I know a lot of people will and do hate me and hate the things I say. My whole family have hated the stuff I say because I fucking bring the truth. And that's uncomfortable for people. So they'll easily just write me off as I'm the arrogant narcissist or whatever the fuck. Like, when I finally said goodbye and told my family what I thought about the abuse, it was all back on me. Oh, I'm fucking bipolar and all this shit. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, no problem. I know what I am. Just total projection, you know. So if you're watching this and you think I'm whatever the fuck, like, I don't care. I know who I am, and like, I have God. And just to clarify, you know, I was never raised with God. My family isn't connected to God, and I'm not talking about a Christian God or a Hindu God or a Muslim God. I'm talking about the all, you know, the real God that's in your heart if you're a real human who feels and is alive and who sees things. The God of nature, you know, basically the spirit that binds us all, the spirit of virtue, of love and truth, you know, that's what I'm talking about. And yeah, so over this last year and a half, I've basically just been dedicating myself to following my interests, which has really been in all sorts of places. You know, I love Buddhism, I love lots of Hindu, I love all of this shit. I love a lot of the Bible, lots of wisdom in there. And I have Jesus on my heart, you know, but it's I wouldn't call myself a Christian because there's definitely problems with organised religion, and I know that God does not want us to follow anything but him. And so really what I've been trying to do is, with my breath work and other sort of things I've been trying to heal with, is to connect directly with God, with the unconscious feminine, divine feminine, and the conscious divine masculine, and really trying to balance those energies. Because I you know, what kind of spurred this all on for me was that I was watching a video about, and these people are talking about divine masculine and feminine and like balancing that, and you know, they're saying all the right things, but they're just totally fucking off, because they're saying we should accept everything. And I see this a lot with Christianity in particular, because you know, that's the one that's closest to me, you know, living in Britain. That people definitely misquote Jesus and the Bible in their ignorant ideas that because Jesus died and said, you know, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do, which is fucking beautiful, and his sacrifice is beautiful, people twist that to think it means that you must accept everyone. And just because he hung out with sinners, see, there's a difference between a sinner who's trying and who's committed to the truth, and it doesn't mean they're all the way there yet, but they are committed to the truth, to the objective truth, not their subjective truth, the objective truth, seeing their life through the eyes of God, which is the objective. That's outside of you. It doesn't matter like if it's going to ruin your life when this truth comes out, you fucking tell it because it's the truth. So if you're dedicated to the truth but you're a sinner, then obviously there's fucking hope for you. But there are people that are not, and they're using the empathy of good people, but it's twisted. And it's because we all want it to be, we don't want to give up on someone. Of course not. Like, I know that in myself. I know that's what I've struggled with myself. Like, especially if you see that you're a trier, like I have always tried, and I've got things completely fucking wrong, and I've been completely lost, but I've always tried. And so I have looked out at the world and thought, even though my eyes show me something different, in my mind I've like twisted it back around into, but they must be trying because we're all the same and blah blah blah. Yes, we are fundamentally all eternal souls. I do believe that. But there's people within this lifetime that are committed to evil, and they have no qualms about lying and abuse. And we're seeing this now with I'm trying to stay on point here. Yeah, well, okay, that is on point. The abuse of children in the sense of this whole transgender fucking nonsense. I mean, we actually live in a world now where people are denying basic biology because we are so uncomfortable with telling someone no, for first, and that there's rules. Like, we just live in a fucking ruleless society. So, I hope I'm coming across some way clear. So what is the problem with that? The problem with that is that it is clear that this whole transgender thing is like, I don't have a problem with people who want to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, I'm all up for freedom. If you want to dress up in girl or boys clothing, like, fine. You fucking do you, like, absolutely fine with that. But the point is, we are pressuring young children into this idea that you can be whatever you want. Like, as if things aren't confusing enough for a fucking adolescent who has, especially girls, you know, once you hit puberty, you're gonna have body image issues. Especially, like, that's something natural anyway, but especially in the society we live in. And now that's getting pushed and twisted to the, oh, actually, you're just in the wrong body. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? We've just lost reality. We are living in a world where reality doesn't exist. Like, just be whatever you want. Be a coconut. Identify with what you want. Like, no. And you know the consequences of this is that people, like, well, like, they're doing this in prison, so, like, obviously men can say, like, oh, I identify as a woman, and then get moved to a women's prison, and then, oh, suddenly women are getting pregnant in prisons. Like, so you're sending rapists into women's prisons whilst pretending that you care about women's rights. Like, things aren't connecting up, and it's because people are lying in their personal lives. And it's this whole idea of you can't judge, and that is true, like, because you basically shouldn't judge until you've judged yourself. And so it shows you, this is why we're at this level of, like, toxic non-judgment, where you can't say that anything's wrong, like, because everyone's just their opinion and nothing's actually real. Like, no, actually, children getting raped is damaging, and propagating all these ideas of, like, just do what you want is leading to more of that. Because we're not protecting children. There's no actual real protection for children. The justice system's a fucking failure. And people are so busy with this system of working full time, and then coming home exhausted and just putting on the TV, which is programming you to think a certain fucking way, which is why everyone thinks the same fucking way, of this, like, passive bullshit. Like, there's clearly a reality. There's clearly things that are right and wrong, but I've spoken to many people who are like, no, it's all subjective, it's just your truth. Like, no, there's a subjective reality and there's an objective reality. And I think, again, we have science, we have fucking research, we can see that abusing a child is not good. And now we've lived with so many generations of abuse that no wonder we're all hiding from it. No wonder we're just burying our heads in the sand, because it's too much. It's too much for people, especially when you are working all the time and you've got your own fucking problems. But the problem with that is you're not going to have peace from distracting yourself. There will be no peace. There will be no peace from that. We have to fucking get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is basically stop fucking lying. And if you're still listening to this video, then, and you're not completely hating everything I say, then there's probably hope that you actually see things clearly, or that you're dedicated to the truth. But, you know, I don't have time for people anymore. I've finally realised that all my energy's been going into trying to help people that are fucking scum, with this hope that they will change, even though there's been no signs to that. And again, especially, it's hard for people, and it's been hard for me, when it's your family and you have this idea, because there's like a societal contract that, you know, you don't break family bonds. But, you know, we're talking about family. Real family are people that have your fucking back, and it's not just when it suits them. Real family does have honour, and I have honour. I've fought for my family way beyond the fucking joke. And all they've done is manipulate and abuse me. And there's plenty of people like that, but it's hard for people to see my family doesn't love me. Like, that's a hard fucking truth to face. And they can say they love you. They can buy you gifts at Christmas and fucking, you know, stupid things that only serve their ego. Like, oh, I'm a good person because I did this. I'm a good person because I care about Ukraine. Like, no, you're fucking not. You should care about what is true. Like, focus on your own fucking life. Stop looking at the news. Basically, that's another great piece of advice from God. Stop looking at the fucking news. Stop looking outside yourself and work within yourself. Because if you care about truth and love and children, it needs to start here. You need to clear your own shit, because you're never going to be able to fight against something big like the powers that are evil today, which are huge, that are going to use everything against you, unless you know that your conscience is clean and nothing can be used against you. Like, nothing can be used against me anymore, because I've fucking faced it, you know. And so that's why I'm ready to speak now. But that's clearly what the battle is people, because you notice people who are fucking scum liars will be happy to, like, judge people on pettiness, like, oh, she's like bitching about people at work and bitching about their friends and bitching about whatever. But when it comes to something real, like paedophilia, like a real problem, like, I'm sorry, that's the only fucking problem that we need to face. We have elite paedophilia running, like the royal family in this country. Epstein, we know that he is related to all, like, politicians and all this shit, and people still vote these fuckers in. Like, so that quote that I said at the start is really accurate. You know, it's a spiritual war that is ahead of us. And, you know, if you think this COVID is fucking over and all these things are over, that we're just in a new normal, like, think fucking again. It's coming back, and it'll be coming back worse. And people like me, who are not fucking idiots and who just want to be good by our own free thinking judgment, which is with God, not by what the government tells me to do, or anything, any of these fucking powers. Like, it's funny as well, because people think, like, oh, you're a religious nutcase for following God, like, as if it's some dogmatic thing, which obviously there's plenty of people that are dogmatic religious people, like, yes, agreed. But then these fucking new atheists are just as dogmatic about following the government. At least when people were dogmatically following the Bible, like, there was some wisdom in the Bible, there's no wisdom in the fucking government. They're lying scum, they're so obviously do it. And this is so obviously all a hoax. We're in a fucking big social experiment to see how much we can be fucked and how much we won't fight back. And yes, we are absolute pansies with no backbone, absolute cowardice to the extreme level. Like, what we're seeing in the world today is nothing that I could ever have imagined. You know, it's far beyond my wildest imagination. Like, it's crazy. But most people are unaware because they choose not to look at like the things that they're passing in schools about giving 4-year-olds fucking what was it, like questionnaires about their gender and about anal. Like, people can't see where these things lead. Same with the COVID. Like, you're not getting these fucking freedoms back. You have to understand that. And with the children thing, no one looks at all the cases of the people who have transgendered, gone through all this fucking hormone therapy and surgery, which is irreversible, even they try to say it isn't. Like, okay, you're fucking people, and you're fucking people who are ill. I actually care for people who are mentally ill. You're obviously got a mental illness. You're obviously lost if you think that chopping off your balls is going to fix everything. It's just plain. Like, the people who have been going to this have already had mental problems. They've already felt not okay with who they are. And, you know, obviously your body, like, people always have body issues when they've got mental health problems, don't they? Because you basically hate yourself. And so everything that is you hate. And so this is just another one of these magic fixes. Like, yeah, chop your balls off and then people like you. Like, no. I think if you're having a hard enough time as it is, chopping your balls off is not going to make things easier. And there's people that have come out and said this, but what does the media do? They don't report on that. Is there an agenda or something? Are they trying to destroy society so that they can gain? So that they can have all the power? Like, these are narcissistic fucking people who are absolutely hell-bent on having power and money, and they don't care about you. They don't care about you under there, that destroys your life, that it destroys children's life. They don't care. That's what people need to get through their head, is that although you might have good ideas and that you wouldn't do that to someone, it's not the same for them. These people are psychopathic fucks, and that's what we're dealing with. So we need to realise that that's what we're dealing with so that we can act appropriately and say, no, you will not, I fucking see what you're doing and you're not getting it past me. So I guess that's all there is to say today. You know, and just try to connect with your intuition, because that's clearly what people have not done. Because people have thoughts, obviously, like, because God tries to speak to you through your intuition and through reality if you actually open your eyes, and he tries to send you messages, or she, or the Great Spirit, whatever, it's all the fucking same. God's always trying to send you messages, and you fear, through fear, you discount them all. Through fear of, because again, this brainwashing's been going on a long time, you know. People are so scared to be called racist. People are so scared to be called a whatever phobe. And so these things just keep pushing. It's like, there's so much self-hatred, and there's so much self-hatred because people don't love themselves. And the reason people don't love themselves, it's not just all about self-love, man. Like, you can't just keep plastering on self-love when you're not lovable. You need to go into the dark and look at yourself and admit the truth before you can love yourself. You can't just accept it and it's all rosy and love and light. Like, it doesn't fucking work that way. There is a shadow side to yourself. There are things that you hide and lie about to yourself. And so it's easier for you to distract yourself and watch something that doesn't... Why does society not push anything that's fucking good? And when they do push something that looks like it's good, it's like for fucking further manipulation. Like, actually look at society. Look at the studies. Look at the rates of depression, anxiety. People are not living meaningful lives. People are disconnected, and that's all been at the hands of the powerful, and with our own... You know, the powerful want to do that and push that, but it's also to do with, like, we're not responsibility free because we have allowed it, because we are liars And that's the bottom line. So really, what does God want you to do? God wants you to reflect on yourself, and he wants you to ask yourself, are you being honest with yourself? Are you being honest with the people you love? And I guess that's really what he wants you to do. Because if we can get to a place where we're honest, then the evil has no power over us. You see that even as an example with narcissism, right? So I stupidly told my family things, as you do, about myself and about my struggles and about what I was going through, about things that I've lied about, and obviously they just know shit on me, because they're my family and they've been with me the whole time, and I didn't realise the extent of their evilness. And this is again in particular with my stepmom. And then so when I say I've made the decision that I see that you're abusive and bye basically. What does she come out and do? And this is classic narcissist behaviour. She comes out with all this stuff that she's tallied up in her mind about me. Oh, but you and it's I knew I could say this now because it's I've said the truth. You can tell anyone anything you want about me, it doesn't fucking bother me. I'm good with God, so go fuck yourself. But it was whoa, just to see that that's what. So whenever she was asking things about me and I'm thinking, oh, that means she cares. No. She's got a fucking spreadsheet in her mind where she's tallying up I'm gonna use this at a later date. Whenever I don't get what I want, I'm gonna use this manipulation tactic. So these people have no fucking soul. And so yeah, I didn't mention actually that the bottom line really is that since there's limited resources, we need to as a society come together and admit that these people need to be killed. Now we can talk about different levels of this, but at the moment we need to at least agree on the bottom people, and for me and anyone with a heart, that is pedophiles, child abusers, right? We can't, let's say even, we're spending all this money on their fucking therapy, right? Yet, how can we let them out? How can you know that they're not going to offend again and destroy someone else's life? An innocent child's life. You can't know that. So you do not have the power, or the people who do this, judges and whatever system, but the system that we all agree to, well, not me, but that we agree to, says that, yeah, you can let people out. You can let people that have raped children back out into society, or we can spend money on therapy for them and housing them when there's homeless good people in the streets. What the fuck? We need to get to a point where we realise that the bottom paedophile child abusers need to be killed. And again, oh, Michelle, you're so harsh. No, I'm fucking not. Death is a doorway, right? Once you understand that everything in life's a cycle, everything is life and death and rebirth, right? And when you know that there's a higher purpose to this life, that it's not just all nihilistic, nothing matters, so let's just go and fucking do whatever we want, no. You know fine well your conscience and your soul, if you have any of that, doesn't agree with that, because you don't feel fucking good after you've just done whatever you fucking want. There is a meaning to life, and there is fucking divine justice, and therefore we must use our limited resources wisely and spend them on good people who try, who might be sinners because they've gone through fucking a lot of abuse, because they live in this fucking world full of abusers. But if they try, absolutely fine. If you don't try and you're a child abuser, you need to die. You go back to God. That's the only way to cleanse your soul. These people don't respond to therapy if you can even get them there in the first place. They're just beyond, they're gone, the research is there, so that's really what God wants people to know. And that's his will. God loves everyone, and forgive them, Father, they know not what they do applies to that. Like, the only way you could be so evil as to abuse children is because of your ignorance. Like, you can't know God and what is good and do that. Like, those things don't apply. So that's the reason that God will forgive you, but God will only forgive you once you see yourself truly and do whatever needs to be done with that, which is obviously fucking apologise. But we can't do that with these people on earth. We can't, like, accept, like, oh, this paedophile said sorry, but then actually they're like, haha, just gonna get out and rape more children. Like, yeah, so if you're not on team, like, protect children and fuck, like, this isn't even about, obviously there's a link between people being raped when they were younger than becoming paedophiles, right? Yeah, that's fucking sad, right? But what is sad is that we continue that cycle by letting them fucking live. And it's just not acceptable. It's not fucking acceptable. So they need to go back to God and spend some time in hell, perhaps. You know, again, obviously they're already in hell in some sense, but they need to face what they've done, and the only way that can be done is by going back to God, is by killing them, is by cleansing the world. Like, how can we ever have a good world if we say that everyone's equal in the sense of, like, anything goes? Like, we're all equal as in we should never be mean to anyone, we should, like, be good, but that doesn't count when someone's abusing you. Jesus didn't say you should let people abuse you. Jesus was fucking cool. He was a fucking rebel, and he spoke about all this COVID shit basically in the Bible. He spoke about the mark of the beast, and he spoke about not doing horrible, like, dealings in sacred places, and that's what's going on. And he got fucking angry about that. We live in a society where the powers at the top who know what they're fucking doing are manipulating the people who are too busy and distracted and lost to know better that your anger is bad. No, it fucking isn't. There's a season for everything, as that beautiful song says, and there is. You shouldn't deny your anger, and I've had troubles with this, because I lived with a fucking narcissistic stepmom, and it's all about manipulating you, and then when you finally get to the point where you, like, say something, then oh, you've maybe got problems with your anger. It's like, no. You know, there's sacred anger. If you're getting pissy and angry about things that you don't need to be getting angry about, that's shit. If you're getting angry about children being raped, that's good. You're meant to fucking get angry about that. God wants you to get angry about that, so that you fucking do something. You're meant to use your anger so that you do something. And so my job's just to speak and to spend my energy on helping people through the experiences that I've been through and the learnings that I've had through my abuse, but for people who listen, people who see me as someone who's valuable. My family didn't, fuck them. I am valuable. And so that's my job, is just to speak about this, because I know I've said stuff before and people have been like if I've, like, criticised anything, they're like, well, what are you doing about it? Like, if I've criticised politicians, well, why are you not a politician? Because I don't fucking want to be. Like, I do what I'm meant to do, what I'm drawn to do, what I'm interested in, so, like, fuck those people. So, yeah, I think that's basically all I wanted to say. So yeah, I'll speak to you soon once I've got something else to talk about. But I've got lots to explain. Like, I really want to go over, like, what's happened to me in the last year and a half, and, like, the illness that God gave me, that I'm still healing from, but, like, really doing well. And I'd like to speak about that because I know it's fibromyalgia, and it's definitely a spiritual illness. And I set out to heal it from day one, even though it's not a condition you can heal from, of course, because the medical institutions don't want people to be healthy, you know, because people are a lot easier to control when they're sick and weak and shit. So so I want to explain a bit about how I've been healing from that, because you can heal, you know. the root to everything really is spiritual, like especially these types of illnesses. So I'll go into that at some point. But yeah, thank you for listening, and be strong, man. If you see what's going on, it's fucking rough. If you don't, then you're probably never going to at this rate because it's blindingly obvious. But yeah, think for yourselves. Like, don't take what I say to be true. You know, speak to God yourself. Try and connect to spirit. If you don't feel like God is real, but you want meaning in your life, and you want truth, and you want to be well and healthy, like, try meditating, try praying. Like, that's how God came to me, is because I'd started praying. Even though I didn't believe in God, I'd found some like really cool quotes from the Bible, and it was like the only place today that was like actually using the word like abomination, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, yeah, there are people that are fucking abominations. Like, that's, thank you. Not just all like, everyone's beautiful and like a light soul. So anyway, those quotes got me interested. Then I started praying, and I just started saying what I was grateful for every night, and kind of just out into the fucking ether. And eventually I really started hearing stuff coming back, and I've just spent loads of time trying to connect and strengthen that connection, and that's going fucking well for me. So yeah, try that if that's what you're looking for, and yeah, stay strong.